All right. What's good? What's good? Welcome to my channel and subscribe if you like the content that you see here. Also, give us a like and show us some love here if you like the channel. Today, I'm going to comment on this video. It's by the Young Turks. They're pretty progressive. And it says, white supremacists call a black cop the N word. So let's go ahead and watch the video and I'll give my comments as I'm speaking.
White supremacist neo-Nazi John Manadio called a black West Palm Beach officer the N-word and then added in a homophobic slur for good measure. It happened this past Saturday. Watch.
White like you, I don't give a about either of you. The only thing that's stopping us is you guys got your badges on.
It's the guns, it ain't the badges.
That's it. Clowns. Quit licking your lips, dude. It's weird.
Okay, so right now we're investigating a littering crime citations, and I need identification from everyone here. If not, you're going to go to jail.
Littering crime.
Yes.
I have to go and grab my backpack.
I have no problem.
Yeah, my ID's in my backpack. This getting in my face.
So would you like to give me
Yeah,
ID
I
for me?
would.
Okay, let's
Away
get
from
your
this.
ID. Let's
Yeah.
get your ID.
I'm gonna follow you.
See this? See what he's doing?
All right, to start with, just looking at this guy and what he's saying about this other guy, he's totally insecure, probably has a small dick. And, he's just angry with life and he just wants to blame somebody for his troubles and mistakes. And that's what he does. People who feel insecure, and feel like they're insecure, they gotta attack other people because that's how they feel security, because they're insecure. So I mean, this guy is obviously, he's just being a troll and being an asshole, to be honest.
He's intimidated. Can I get in here? Aggressive.
No weapons in here. Right?
Shut up. No weapons.
Sir, I'm going to take this.
This is me.
I'm not taking it. I'm going to put it right here
Okay,
while you
go
get
ahead.
your stuff, okay?
This is the hard part, man, huh? When I call you in your face and you got to act like a white man and detain yourself. Huh? This is hard for you, huh? Your low IQ wants to fucking attack me, doesn't it? Over a word. Doesn't it?
We're going to get back to that in a second, the low IQ and everything else, but let's hear what he has to say. I mean, this guy's a retard. If I was the police officer, man, I'd probably smack the shit out of him, but that's why I couldn't be a police officer. I wouldn't be able to take that. But anyway.
Yeah.
He's showing a lot of strength mentally just by keeping, keeping steady.
It does. You are a science experiment from the Jew. You're all free to leave. Have a good day. All right, Officer Testosterone, Mystery Meat Hybrid. All right.
So, as you can see, this guy's being an asshole. Obviously, he was picking on the, I don't know, semi-black guy. I don't know. He looked, he looked kind of, I don't know. I don't know what tone of color he was, but kind of look Arab to me, to be honest. But then he calls steroid and he stirred up in meat packer or whatever he's calling this other guy. I mean, this guy is an asshole just in general. I mean, how can you live your life, being yourself, looking yourself in the mirror? I can almost tell you this guy has mental problems, like serious mental problems.
See you later.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, shut up.
Follow the laws and you'll be good, guys.
Shut up. No one cares about your gay opinions. Follow the law, you. Hey. Shut the up. You.
So
yeah, obviously an asshole.
many observations, so little time. It makes your skin crawl. We've heard ugly like this before, sadly, too much of it, right? We've heard this so many times before, but also privilege, I'm thinking about here, because I think had the person spewing this garbage looked a different way, there wouldn't be the same outcome. Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood shared the video on Twitter to commend the poise the black officer demonstrated in the face of such targeted hate. Chitwood also noted on the losers making $33 while live streaming the encounter for hours by stating that $9,000 had been raised for anti-hate programs just by condemning and making fun of scum like Manadio. Background on the incident, according to...
Well, to be honest, if you're a police officer, and I know that because I've known police officers, and, they got to take a lot of shit. This guy took it racially this time, but there's other people who insult him, call him all sorts of words. I mean, you can just imagine a lot of these people, when they get arrested, they're drunk. Some are not. Some are high. Some are whatever, and they say whatever pops to their head. And not only do they attack the police officer verbally, but the people who are around them also attack the police officer. So to some extent, that comes with the job. And unfortunately, if you're going to, be a police officer, this is the type of shit that you're gonna take. And it doesn't really matter if you're the meat guy, the steroid guy, who apparently, wasn't part of, nobody said anything about that, or the big, whatever the other guy was, the meat guy, or you're this, whatever color this guy is. I mean, there people are gonna be assholes. It's just what it is. It's part of life, unfortunately.
WPBF News investigators with the West Palm Beach Police said on Saturday afternoon, 3 men in a rented U-Haul truck threw hundreds of packets containing anti-Semitic flyers around the Flamingo Parks neighborhood. The video showed at least 5 men, but okay. Per WPBF News, only 3 men were cited for littering, the only statute on the books police can use.
Now, I am aware of the flyers. I actually received the flyer myself, and I will give my comments in a different video about that. But anyway, let's keep going.
Police confiscated 500 of the hateful packets altogether. Detectives said at one point the 3 men who threw them yelled at some of the neighbors, saying disparaging statements. The 3 men who were cited on Saturday, which included Menadio, had also spread hateful messages in the Old Northwood and Northwood Shores neighborhoods on the north end of West Palm Beach last week. This guy's a real winner. Besides 40-year-old Menadio, 60-year-old David Young Kim, 33-year-old Nicholas Allen Bashim were the other 2 men cited for Saturday's incident. Ben, I mentioned privilege because we have this thing that we have to get into constantly, you and I and people like us, where the police have done so much that is so gross that we've had to cover consistently, okay? And I'm not gonna give that disclaimer about I'm not doing it this time, okay? I'm not. But at the same time, you have this horrific being, I'm not gonna say human, Ben. I'm not gonna use the word human, just this horrific being who's intent on spreading garbage and filth. And I want to get your take on that because it's not easy for us to break down this dance of disparaging disgustingness.
Yeah, no, the unfortunate reality is, I mean, this is like everything about this is so infuriating because look, like I wouldn't walk up to a police officer and obviously not say the N-word, but even just like, even just do anything that would be directly insulting to them or anything like that because, like it would not end well, right? As a trans woman, like you gotta be like extra polite to police officers. There are tons of different people from tons of different marginalized communities where you gotta walk on eggshells around police officers and not just like, calling them names, but even just like disagreeing with them where it's like, oh, I actually wasn't speeding, or hey, I actually haven't been drinking tonight, or things like that can like put you in a terrible, terrible situation. Or even just like, yeah, I would prefer it if you didn't search my car right now. And like so just from that like baseline, we need to understand that there's a reason why this man feels like he can say what he said to that police officer. Right? There's a reason why it didn't come out of nowhere. And it's specifically because the institution of policing as a whole was quite literally born out of slave catching, right? That is like its institutional origin.
Okay, so anyway, there's a few things here, and I'm gonna give more perspective as in a second. But there are people who are angry with the LGBT community, and it's not because of them, it's because the power structures are pushing an agenda. And I have nothing against those people. In fact, I have much love for them. I know a few, so no problem. But one thing is to expose yourself, another thing is to create propaganda. Okay, so if you are not attacking the propaganda side, then people are going to be offended no matter what you do because propaganda is propaganda. Now, obviously, these two individuals are hurt because of what they heard from this white supremacist. That's what he was. But then it begs the question: uh, the Young Turks is a atheist channel. I mean, they promote they don't believe in God and they believe in evolution and all these different things. But isn't it evolution the one that believes in separate races? Like I remember reading that sub what was it? The Australian Aborigines were a subspecies of human, and I didn't get that from the Bible. I got that from evolution. And if you believe that, then you believe in separate. I believe there's only one human race. I believe we're all equal. I mean, we got differences. God made us different in different ways, but it doesn't make us better from anybody. We just have different, we just have different skin color. We have different. We believe different things, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the beauty of being human. But you will you you guys work in the network. They believe in evolution, and evolution is racism because racism they believe that blacks came from monkeys. That's what they apes. So okay, sorry, I said monkeys, apes, the appropriate word. That's what they believe. It started in Africa. I read this before, and somehow or another, I'm really confused because the white supremacist actually believes also in evolution too. They believe that other people are just inferior, but then you're working for a network and for people who claim they're atheist who also believe in natural selection. So I mean, to me, the fact that you've been working in that channel is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, go ahead.
And it fundamentally has always been oriented predominantly towards black and brown folks, but marginalized folks more broadly. The institution of police.
And to be honest with you, I know this for a fact, but brown and black folks, yeah, they get along, but they are racist with one another, big time. There's a lot of racism going on, especially when it comes down to gangs and stuff. People, oh, it's just gangs. Well, it doesn't get reported enough. It doesn't get reported enough. But a lot of Latinos are pretty much pushing blacks away from their communities, and and there's gang wars and there's things like that, and you're targeted for being brown or being black, and in some places it's better if you're black, some places it's better Latino. So it's not homogeneous. It's not like a one issue thing here. Okay, it's a lot more than white supremacy here. It's called human nature.
Thing has always been a form of targeted harassment and suppression of the interests of like black and brown folks and other marginalized people. Like that has been the whole purpose of the institution. And so policing isn't about making sure that white folks are following the rules or that rich folks are following the rules or anything like that. It's definitely not about keeping people safe. It's definitely not about solving crime because police officers actually solve very, very little crime and spend almost none of their time actually solving crime. I think the real number is about 2%
I do agree with that to some extent.
of the time that they're spending at work is like actually solving crime.
And what about this month during March Madness? It's probably down to 1%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so seriously, like all of these things are just so important to understand that there's a reason why this person feels like they can do that. And like the like spreading pamphlets, I mean, like it's like a whole longer discussion and there's a lot more to be said about it. But like I think there are good and legitimate reasons why other countries ban Nazism. I think there are good and legitimate reasons why it is illegal in many countries to pass out pamphlets like what these Nazis.
But it's once again we go back to this scenario of Nazism and whatever. Yes, I understand. Of course, like I said, I believe in Christ. I believe we're all one in Jesus, and that's fine. We're all human beings, and doesn't matter what skin color you're on, whatever. You can disagree with me, and I still love you in Christ Jesus. Doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you are saying Nazi, 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 and okay. But once again, the Nazis believed in eugenics. And what do they believe? And evolution. And in the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, they believed that was the real reason, and that in fact a lot of slave traders, I believe the book came out right when they were going to get into civil war with the North. That book came, and it was very controversial. And why don't you denounce that fact of, in fact, I'm not even, that's not a fact. Your facts about um, white supremacy and whatever supremacy as also part of that idea of evolution, because according to white people, or according to the Nazis, right, they believe the white people were superior. But then you are in a network that sponsors atheism and they believe in evolution. So to me, if you believe in evolution, you're already flawed and you're already putting yourself in harm's way, because what you're saying is that the black lady that's right next to you is inferior. Even though you're not saying that, you still believe in that. You believe in that. I don't believe in different races. I mean, it's just, I mean, to me, that's just racist. But okay. Anyway, let's keep this guy talking. Let's see.
They're passing out. I know that people will get mad and they'll talk about freedom of speech and this, that, or the other thing, but I think we can all recognize that sometimes freedom of speech goes a little bit too far. And I feel like exactly, because it is meant to be intimidating by nature. It is meant to be a threat in nature. It is meant to instill fear. That is why these Nazis say and do the things that they do publicly. Their goal is to create fear, right? And there needs to be a response, right? There needs to be a response, especially when you have Nazis like this coordinating.
The problem is if you're saying that there needs to be a response, and let's say go ahead and you attack them because you're obviously inciting violence. If the response means some sort of violence, jail them or punish them, any sort of punishment is a violent response. Then they're gonna do the same to you if they don't agree. If they believe you're being violent, then they're gonna do the same thing. So it can either be said by speech, which is less harmful, or it's going to be physical. And nobody wants to do the physical side. You don't want to do the physical side. Some Nazis might, but at least for right now, because you have these cops and you have this protection, whatever it works. Nothing is perfect. They probably, like this guy said, they don't go and resolve most of the cases. I know that for a fact. It's true. At least you have something to protect you from. But that might not be the case if there's no cops and we go to a military state, or if we dissolve the entire system of police protection. You're going to be in real trouble. Yeah, you're going to be in real trouble, and you better have numbers, because if you don't have numbers, you're not going to win. Let's be honest.
In organizing, the unfortunate reality is, like, there's a reason why hate crimes against trans people have skyrocketed, why hate crimes against Asian folks have skyrocketed. There's a reason why you see people like this pushing out Nazi propaganda. At the same time, you see Republicans trying to ban trans people from public. All of these things are connected to each other. And unfortunately, the institutions that we have are designed to suppress the interests of the marginalized people.
I don't agree with the trans thing, because I believe that there's a lot of Asians who are against that propaganda as well, and also the LGBTQ. I don't believe that. I believe that's different. Now, the Asian part, I do agree that that's wrong, because in part, Donald Trump was spreading that, and people are ignorant for the most part. They don't really understand. There's a lot of xenophobia. People hate the outsiders. I don't necessarily believe it's racism, but I believe it's xenophobia, and they don't like outsiders. And I think that with China, Wuhan virus, and all this, they did become a target, but that's mostly because of ignorance. Versus, I believe the LGBT cause or whatever, and the reason why you're being more targeted now is because you're also, I mean, let's be honest, you're promoting, transvestites and things like that, and school children hour and showing books on how to suck cock to little children. I mean, if you think that's right and you don't go against that and you publicly speak against it, and the trans community is not doing that, well, once again, you're pushing your propaganda on somebody else, and there's going to be a bad response. So you can't put all these things together and say they're one. They are different causes and reasons.
These people are targeting, while also bolstering and protecting the privileged folks that are spreading this.
Well, I don't know who's privileged, because most people are broke. I know a lot of people who are broke. It doesn't matter what color they are. There's a lot of people who are broke, who are struggling, who are using welfare, who are in welfare, and things keep getting more expensive. I think that privilege is more in your mind, to be honest.
Yeah, and some of those Republicans are sliding into the DMs of some beautiful trans people. Okay, they're sliding into the DMs, and we've covered it here. And we don't care. Listen, do whatever you want to do. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't incite violence, because we want people to be and live and exist in their authentic selves. And we want you to let other people do that too, okay? Don't bother me, I won't bother you. It's it's not, it's like the concept, maybe your grandma.
And I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Just be you and do what you got to do. But the problem is that you are making an idiot who, you know, just came out of the blue sky, started calling cops all sorts of names and yada yada yada, which is wrong. I mean, why should that? Why there's in my opinion, there's no reason why to do that, except that he thinks that in his world things are bad. But the issue I have is that you're making this national news. There's a lot more important things that a guy speaking about or insulting cops or getting racial with one cop. That's not what you're doing is you're grabbing that and you're putting that in your platform who has I think 5 million subscribers and you're pushing an agenda. So now everybody that watches your channel is going to have an idea and say, oh, that's racism. So one person is going to create this anger and funnel it to whatever subscribers you have. And that's also wrong. You obviously don't believe in this freedom of speech and you can contradict him, but now you're saying that there has to be even more should be consequences. You see, you're doing the same thing you're telling these people not to do, right? Because these people, the white supremacists, they want violence, right? I mean, that's what they want, right? But you were saying that there has to be consequences for you're inciting violence too. So just leave it at words, and that's all, and just ignore it. When Jesus was getting attacked by the Pharisees, he just ignored them. That's all he did.
Taught you when you were just a little tight. We've got to go to break, but real quick, I do want you to comment because I'm torn. I don't want to tear the police chief down, but praising the police officers for being poised. You're not supposed to react. It's disgusting to react to, but I just want to, what do you think about that?
I mean, that's just like a whole thing that exists within our culture where if you were marginalized in any way, shape, or form, you were just expected by default to tolerate bigotry, to just let it roll off of your shoulders and just be like, oh, they mean well, or this, that, or the other thing. And, don't take it too hard or whatever. And honestly, I'm sick of it. I think, honestly, most people are sick of it because like that mentality of, oh, if somebody's being bigoted towards you, you have a responsibility to keep your composure. No, they're not keeping their composure. And like, I think personally, we should all be more accepting of people chewing these people out and really just being like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you saying this? Get out of my face.
Well, they're professionals, so they get paid, and obviously they have to have some sort of composure because once you start banning that and say, well, they can do and say what they want, that's not something that I want to hear. I had bad cops myself, and I've encountered some situations that were really not nice, especially with police officers. And I like the poised ones, the ones that can take shit, because they're less likely to, get the trigger out of a weapon, especially under stressful times. And you should be professional in what you do, and you're getting paid for that job. If you go insulting people, that would make me worried because you're letting your emotions out, and when you let your emotions out, it becomes violent. Okay, one thing that becomes quickly violent is when you start running your emotions. That fuels a lot of violence. So you got to be composed in this job, just like you got to be composed as being a surgeon. You might want to throw up when you're opening somebody out, and just vomit in their wherever you're operating, or their organs or whatever. You can't do that, you know. You can't fade, when you're opening somebody's brain, even though they have the right to do that. And just like military people, somebody throws a rock at them in Israel, and they shouldn't be shooting back with weapons, because I mean I understand it's a rock, but you don't shoot back at somebody. So no, people should be composed, especially when they have these jobs and they're there to protect you. And what the police officer did takes a lot more guts to just remain that manner than if he would have actually responded in a violent way, you know.
We're going to go to break, but I want to quote a great scholar, a great man who said, I'm going to meet you with that same energy. That was Dr. Ritchie. Okay.
Yeah, that's violent right there. I'm gonna meet you where you're saying energy. And this is the problem what I have with a lot of these networks. It's not that I can't listen to them, is that when I listen to them, they're proposing, so they disagree with somebody else, and they're saying they're violent, but they're becoming violent as well. And this is where we're at right now, right? Like this channel over here, I hear nothing but attacks to the right, right? When I listen to Fox News, it just seems like only Tucker Carlson is actually the only one not promoting war, and they still have a way to attack this man, like he's being false or whatever. Like it's like people don't want to get along with each other because they want to be right in everything, right? And one of the things that this trans woman said, or trans man, or whatever his name was, um, is that, you know, we should all get together, right? That's never going to happen. That's just never going to happen. Okay. If you have a problem with somebody else, let's say for whatever reason you hate black people, which, it's just stupid, honestly. But let's say you hate black people, if you have hate, it's going to funnel not just on them, it's going to funnel everybody else. It's just you pick a target because you feel comfortable with it, but you're not going to say that in front of their face. They'll probably beat the shit out of you, right? So people funnel their internal problems to somebody else because they're insecure. And at the end of the day, the media does that as well. The only difference is they funnel that energy from the people who are telling them what to say, whether it might be with propaganda, with war, with all these different things. And it's all emotional. And we should stop running on emotion and running more in our mind, because at the end of the day, like, that's all we have. We're not animals, unless you're an evolutionist. If you believe in that, then like, don't stop me. But if you believe you're an animal, then, or you came from an animal, then that's fine. Then that's what you are. But even animals, show composure with their, with their owners. When you treat them right, they come back at you. They're not just animals that go and kill things. Or, I mean, if they're from nature and they're surviving and they might not see you, they're probably scared of you to see you, depending what animal that might be. But what I'm saying is that it, there's no one standard, and the people on the left are not going to convert the people on the right. And to be honest with you, I can't stand people from the right, and I cannot stand people from the left. Man, they're crazy, both of them. And to say you're better than one another, you already have shown your supremacy just by saying that. So I just leave it like that. So thank you for watching. If you like my channel, subscribe, give us a like, and deuces cruces, and I'll check you in the next video. Peace out.